typically want to smoke them, so this kind of blocks some of their alarm pheromone.
Okay.
That way, when you get in there, they're not really defensive. So it kind of knocks them down a little bit. The other thing that I do is I typically inspect the bottom box first instead of the top. So if you open the top and you smoke them, all the bees end up going down here, and then it's really hard to inspect that because all your bees are in there.
Okay. Gotcha.
So when I take this off and split it, I'll leave this thing over the cover.
Okay.
Just so they're in the dark. So they're very minimally bothered. And then I'll go through this. Usually this is where the action's happening too. Sometimes it's between the boxes too. So.
Okay. Gotcha.
But again, the brick is just to keep the cover on, depending on what you got.
Okay.
That you don't need that. I just kind of stick one out just so that it's sort of a rain cover for them, but you really don't need that.
Okay.
And then some people set them in different ways to mean different things. So,
okay, gotcha. Okay.
So,
Communication.
Yep. So if you need to feed them, some people slide them to the back or put them in certain ways. So it's kind of do whatever works for you. It'll help you remember.
Yeah.
You don't have to insulate. This is something I was trying. I just stuck a chunk of insulation to see how they would do through the winter.
Gotcha.
And then I actually had all of these insulated except for that one, just to compare and contrast to see how they were building up.
Okay.
But,
Gotcha.
this is my biggest hive by far, though.
What type of bees are these?
So again, I started with Italian. No, I started with Russian,
Yeah.
and then a lot of this is just open bred.
Okay.
I know that there is someone south of here that has about 40 or 50 hives, and they're all Russian. She will only use Russian, so that could be that. There's also a person that's northwest of here, and he just used local. So most of these are local. It's been several years.
So you get bees that come in from other places you don't even know.
Yeah. So when she goes out to mate, she's mating with between up to like 25 different drones.
Wow.
So they go to drone congregation areas, but she tries to fly far enough away that she doesn't mate with her own brothers.
And,
But,
and are you able to tell what she looks like right there?
You'd be able to see her if she was. I was going to show you the drone. See that big guy right there? See, he's so much bigger, but he's got a rounded tip on the back.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a stinger because he's just made for
he's a drone.
reproducing. Yep. So that's the boy. The rest of these are worker girls.
Okay.
And again, I won't take this off. I'm going to start here and then set that one off and then work it. This is actually probably our most populous hive, and I think the lowest temperature there was about 70 degrees this winter. As you're popping this, you always want to run on the side. You don't want to run through here, and I'll show you why when I get this apart. And then you pop it up just enough that you can smoke in there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And you just put smoke in that seam, and then just give them a second. I have clear inner covers. Not everybody has this, but you can see how they're starting to react to the smoke a little bit. They're like, whoa, what's going on?
Oh, I see. Okay.
But, and then once I pop that up, and then sometimes you got to give it a little twist to get it off. And then I'll set these down here. You kind of want to set that it's on 4 corners, so you're limiting your contact patch, so you're not smashing bees. And then I grab, I'm not gonna hurt you, girl. I'll grab this and just leave them in the dark.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So just you automatically cut your
them
population in half. Yeah. Don't disrupt them. Don't bother them until you're actually in them. And usually what I do is I'll put them back on here and then inspect the top. But if you're specifically looking for the queen, you inspect them separately. So that you can, either she's in that box or this box. So you can broken in half. Frame rest, some people use them, some people don't. I prefer to.
Okay.
And then you always start from one side and you go to the other. So again, when I'm talking about prying on the boxes, you want to be here. You want to be on the wood.
Okay, on the wood. Okay.
If you're prying here, you're smashing bees.
Oh, I see.
Plus, this piece of the box is much thinner. You could break it off and have some bigger issues. So now that we've opened that up, give them just another puff. And what you'll see is they'll all end up going down. And they'll probably start eating some honey, and that'll kind of slow them down.
Oh, okay.
So then there's less of them to deal with. So when you go to pry these up, typically you want to pry them apart. So see this gap right here? You want to break that. That's propolis. Okay. It's harder this time of year because they haven't been open for so long. But as soon as you do that,
separate it.
Then you can pop these up. But if you try to pull these up, sometimes you can pull the frames apart.
Oh, okay.
So, and then when you move your hand across, you just kind of want to move it slow.
Yeah, just probably the slowest movement.
Yes.
Doesn't much around them.
From a hobby backyard beekeeper's perspective, I just move slowly. I try not to kill any bees. Commercial guys have so many they have to run through them pretty quick.
Yeah.
And some of them do it in such a fluid way that they don't kill any bees, but I don't have that much experience yet. So.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So what do you see in there?
I see really dark bees
I see some dark liquid, and then I see some empty cells.
Yeah. So actually, these are not empty. That's actually pollen. So the yellow and orange, that's
okay.
pollen.
That's pollen.
Empty would be down here in these corners.
The gray.
And the red is actually nectar. So I'm surprised that they're finding nectar this time of year, but that's good.
Okay, so they're coming back and dropping it in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see how that bee's really fuzzy right here? She's newly hatched. There's another one that's kind of fuzzy. And then that little patch on their back will be less fuzzy when they as they get older. And then so she'll work inside the hive for a couple weeks, and then she'll start flying, and then she'll start bringing in nectar and stuff.
Interesting. Okay, so the dark honey, that's honey, right? That dark shiny.
That would be nectar. Once it's capped, then it's honey.
Yeah. Okay, and then it's honey when it's capped.
Yep. Yep. So that's the bees, and a lot of times, so you want to see their wings. So there's 4 wings on a bee. You want to see them all kind of connected. These are all normal. I think if they're starting to see some disconnected or wrinkled, they could have mite issues. I am really on top of our mites, so I don't expect to see them, but I check quite often. So, and here's our other side: pollen, nectar, bees. Again, if they fly up to you, they're fine. A lot of times they're just checking you out, and then they'll go back to work.
Okay, gotcha. So now there's 4 wings.
There are 4 wings. Yeah, let me see if I can find one that's not quite connected. Again, if they're healthy, they're going to be connected. I like to see that they're not disconnected, but sometimes you'll see.
Oh, I see. There's 2 right there on the side, one side. So they're overlapping.
Yes, the front and the front and the rear wings connect together with a little hinge, and oh, there's a freshly hatched bee. Look how fuzzy that one is.
Oh yeah, completely.
Even the eyeballs are fuzzy. Yeah, there's another.
How many are hatched daily?
Depends how many are laid daily. About 21 days ago. So again, it takes 21 days for them to.
Okay.
Some people say hatch. It's it's really emerging from underneath, because they're an egg, and then they absorb the egg and turn into a larva, and then they pupate several times.
Okay.
And then they get capped on about the 8th day.
Okay.
And then they're under the cap for 2 weeks if they're workers. It's even less than that if it's a queen, and it's 3 days longer than that if it's a drone. So
really? Okay.
It's pretty crazy.
So it's a 21-day cycle.
21 for the workers, 24 for the drone, and about 16 and a half for a queen.
Okay.
Which is crazy, because the queen lives longer, and she's under the cappings the least amount of time, but it's entirely what she's fed. So, so anytime that you see bees, don't be too scared, but if you touch them, they just run out of the way. So when you're over here and you're trying to get your finger on something, you can touch them, just try not to squeeze them. Again, as you're starting out, I would probably just recommend using smoke to drive them away from the edge when you're doing this. And then you can also use this to lift with, but you got to be very careful to try to keep it straight. And then once you get it out here, set it down, but try not to set it on a bee. Of course, you could bounce it, and then you're good. Then you regrip. Nectar and pollen again.
Gosh, look at all that pollen.
Yeah, a lot of the yellow is the maple trees above us, and then the red is the henbit, the kind of the pinkish purple stuff you see out there, and the purple dead nettle. So
is that right? Okay.
At least this time of year.
Red that one
cell is. Right down there, and then up there too.
And then all the nectar.
And then
so the nectar. Okay, so at what point does the honey come in? Like, so the nectar's here, and then the honey, and then it's capped with what?
If there's a big flow, there will be. They'll cap it with a little bit of wax. So this may never get capped. There may be so many bees in here that they're bringing it in and eating it almost the same amount.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
And then you look at the pollen; it kind of looks dry. Sometimes they'll mix the two together, and they call that bee bread, and that's the brood, the open larvae that they're still feeding. They feed them like almost 1,000 times a day. They have to feed a larvae, and until they're capped, and then once they're capped, they're good to go. But they have to have nectar and pollen.
Okay, gotcha.
And there is a small hive beetle. Don't want to see those. We got a couple. Not that big a deal. See him right in that cell? There's one right there. Now I saw some guy do this, and I wanted to give it a try. He has this little vacuum, and he can actually target exactly where he wants to go. Now I lost track of him. Oh, he was right there. I don't want to hit a bee though.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, didn't get it. Got him.
No way.
Yeah, so he's in there.
That is
But
cool.
of course, that's something you can't do on a commercial scale or
Another
a big
one.
scale. Oh, is it easy to get to?
Right there.
Oh yeah, I see him. There it is. Yeah, but they can
another
be
one.
they can be a pain in the butt later in the year. Got it?
Right in there.
Get it?
I don't know if you did or not.
There's 3 in there,
You got him.
but you don't have to do that. That's just if you have a lot or if they're easy to get to,
Yeah.
you might as well just knock them out.
How dangerous are
Those
they?
are drones. If you have a large population like this, they're not a problem at all.
Okay, gotcha.
They're just annoying, and they
Yeah.
can slime stuff out.
Okay, now the drone that you pointed to is that guy?
I was pointing to that one, I think, but there is one right here as well.
Kind of fat, more kind of
Yes, and around it.
rounder. Yeah.
That's a drone. They don't have stingers, so if you wanted to hold them, feel free.
All right.
But yep. And he probably just hatched, so he won't be able to fly for a week or 2. But
This guy?
yep, you can just shake him off here. You can throw him in the other box. Yep, there you go. But you don't want to leave the box open too long. I don't mind going slow, showing people stuff. It depends what the temperature is too. Since it's in the 70s,
Okay.
I mean they want to be around the 90s. But I'm not too concerned about it.
In order to keep him here, you mean?
To keep the brood wants to be about 90 degrees so that it can pupate. So again,
Gotcha.
there's too many bees for me to stick my finger here, so I'm just going to do a little at a time here, and then just give them a second, and they'll go down. And again, you want to break that apart.
Yeah.
I call those the shoulders of the frame,
Okay, gotcha.
and then you can slip this in, and you can start moving faster as you get into it. I'm still a little rusty. It's been about over 4 months since I've been in here. I usually don't get into them very often. So,
Yeah, to give it to you already.
what do you see?
Okay, it looks like a lot of nectar, but then a lot of yellow pollen.
Yep. See how see these up here? They look a little bit wet pollen.
Mm-hmm.
That's bee bread, and this is honey right here.
Oh.
This is probably honey from last year. So.
Oh, is that right? The dark on top?
Yep. So that's considered a wet capping. It'll be dark like that. Sometimes there's a little air gap between the honey and the capping, and that's usually a whiter color. That's typically what you see.
So is that more liquid up here? Is it-
Yep.
Okay.
That's nectar. Absolutely.
Okay, so they're feeding off this nectar.
Yep. So all the workers will feed off the nectar.
Okay.
The brood will feed off of nectar and pollen.
Okay. When you say brood, okay, so
That would be the babies.
the babies.
So
Okay.
they're actually not feeding off of it. They're being fed that. So they have
Got
to eat
it.
this, then they regurgitate it, and then feed it to the babies. And we'll get to those probably
Gotcha.
as we get closer to the middle.
Okay.
But when you put this down, just as a point of reference, you want to try to keep these shoulders near the other ones. So when you go down, you don't smash bees. So you're able to slide them off and just go nice and easy. But if you put that in that space and then you left a gap, every time you slid the next frame back, you have a potential for smashing the bees. So
Okay.
definitely don't want to do that. Again, here you smoke, get these off. Probably could use more smoke and drive them down. But we also, again, we have all the foragers coming in, and they're used to having 2 boxes, and they're all coming back to 1 box. So
Okay, gotcha.
I do double deep. Some people do. Did you do 10 frame or did you get 8 frame?
I have not purchased them yet.
Okay.
I'm supposed to do it this next time.
Gotcha.
This next meeting.
You may want to give him a call. Okay, so see the middle?
Oh.
That's cat brood. And then you see the white? Those are the larvae.
Okay, the white.
The white is just right next to him. So what she does, she usually lays,
Okay.
and then as they get older, she'll lay in a pattern like that.
Okay.
So those are over 8 days, so they're capped. Those are probably 7 or 8 days, really close to being capped.
Okay.
And then I bet you if we look further out here, we'll see even younger ones. Yeah, really hard to see, but this is why you get black foundation. If you look in there, there's a little shiny, and there's little eggs in each of those cells.
Oh.
Can you see in there? Or is it kind of? Sometimes I got to move the angle of the.
I see.
frame.
So are the eggs like little dot?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, it looks like a
those
grain
little
of rice
dots?
that's micro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
so those are eggs.
Yep. Yep. So if they're upright, they are eggs. As soon as they tip over, they are larvae. So those are our eggs. Yeah, I think you're absolutely, and they're starting to tip over. So she's been in here in the past 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So if I was just doing an inspection, wasn't rushing, or if I was trying to get through a lot, I know that they're queen rate. I'm good. I could probably put them back.
Gotcha.
But again, I am looking for how much stores they have, and they seem to have quite a bit because they must have a lot of foragers. Because see all that whole center piece is brood,
Yeah.
And what happens is usually the cluster, or when she lays in a pattern, it's actually a circle. So as we go to the top, I bet you there'll be brood on the bottom.
Oh,
and then there'll be
and then come up.
Then honey, and then there's pollen. It's sort of almost a circle, but it's usually a ring. So we'll see it. Since we split this in half,
Gotcha.
I'm guessing we'll see the opposite of what's here. And these are all eggs, almost all the way to the outside edge, all the way out to that little pollen ring. There's small eggs in there.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, interesting. Okay, gotcha.
Ooh, I see some small hive beetles. This is just too much fun here. Takes a lot of time though. I don't know if it's worth it, but usually if they're on the inner cover, you can just hit them all at once. But again, I don't worry too much. I've got oil trays, so if they fall through the screen in there, they die. So
okay, gotcha.
I do everything I can. So I'm not really in full sun, so I'll have issues. But also when the honey flows on, I'll open up the entrances as much as possible. So
Gotcha.
The small hive beetles can fly in at that time too. So, typically you don't want to put your hive tool down if possible. You kind of want to learn how to use it. Keep it in your hands at all times.
Gotcha.
You don't have to smoke them too much, but if they're in the way, you just move them, just touch them, and just move them out of the way. So
they are pretty.
Again,
docile.
If they're docile, again, it's entirely dependent upon the queen and the time of year. So if we're seeing nectar in there, there's a flow. They're happy. They're just worried about bringing more nectar and pollen in. Now, if you get in a dearth, which means there's no nectar or potentially pollen out there, they get very defensive because they feel like you're going to steal their stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then they have nowhere to go.
Okay.
So they're just at home defending. Holy moly!
Yeah, look at that.
That's a lot of pollen.
Wow.
And there's a little bit of cat brood, and then there's eggs in all the open cells. That's crazy. So get to situations like this when she has nowhere else to lay, then she may think that she wants to swarm. That's when conditions are ideal.
Yeah. Wow.
So if we see the queen, she should have a red dot. So hopefully we'll
a red dot on her back.
We'll come across. Yeah, I put a red dot on them. Well, I put a dot on their thorax. So typically that tells you, the color tells you the year that she was born.
Okay.
And then overwintered queens do really well the following year, but a lot of people like to requeen the first year.
Okay.
Just because you have more of a chance of them overwintering, I guess. I'm not sure. There's some people that have queens that are like 3 or 4 years old. I think there's one guy I saw that had like a 5-year-old queen, but you don't always want them in your production colonies. So
now as far as the so the queens have long life.
Yes.
But the worker bees.
In the summer, maybe 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
But in the winter, it could be up to 6 months. So.
Okay.
So all they're trying to do in the wintertime is keep the cluster warm, or keep the bees warm and the queen warm.
Okay.
And then, but now that we're seeing all this brood, as that hatches out, a lot of those bees have already done their job. So, I mean, some of these bees may not be the bees that we went into winter with. So.
Got it. Okay. Oh wow.
So some different age larvae over here.
Some different colors there, huh? Mm-hmm. So you got the yellow, kind of orange, and then kind of darker.
Yep. Yeah, so these larvae are really young here, and then they'll be like in a little pool of food a lot of times.
Okay.
That's kind of like over here. But do you see how there's brood all on the outside edge?
Yeah.
There's probably already brood here. It all hatched out, and this is now just hatching out, and what they're doing is they're backfilling it with nectar. So when they get a whole bunch of nectar in a place like that, that's considered backfilling, and then she runs out of space to lay, and they swarm. Because if she's slowing down on swarming, or on laying, and there's a lot of bees in here. Yeah, that's really good right there, because you can see the younger larvae, but they're in like a little pool of royal jelly.
Yeah.
And that helps them, and that's what the bees are eating, the nectar and pollen. They're putting it in there, and those larvae are just eating constantly. And then they grow from tiny to that size in 8 days, and then they're capped.
Wow.
So that little tiny grain of rice you saw, to that size in 8 days.
8 days, it gets to the white point, right?
Well,
or
it'll get that big in the white point.
Okay,
so,
that big, okay.
So they'll tip over, so the grain of the rice is like day 1. Day 3 it tips over, it's a larvae, and then the larvae get that big in 7 to 8 days, and then it's capped.
Golly.
So that's how much food, that's all the food that they're having to eat. So.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. Yep, seeing larvae all the way out to the edge, and eggs all the way to the edge.
It's crazy how busy they are.
Yeah. Do you want to hold this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So there's not many bees here. So when you put your fingers on, you just want to touch gently and just make sure there's no bees on there. Now let me just show you first. I'll try to put my fingers back here like this so that you can tip it, and then you can always flip your fingers to this side and you can flip it that way. So
okay, gotcha.
So, grab it however you feel comfortable and just gently touch it. There you go.
Okay.
And then just look at it, enjoy.
Unbelievable.
That's kind of,
That is so cool.
yeah, it's very, at first it seems intimidating because there's so many little stinging insects in here, but it's so calm.
I was like, yeah, at first when you did it, I'm like, all right, let's stay calm, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little unnerving at first.
Yes, absolutely. But if you move slow and calm, they usually don't even get upset. If you drop frames in and stuff, they can get upset, fly out. You can always step away for a little bit and then come back once they've calmed down.
Holy smokes, there's a lot of them.
That's crazy.
Look at that.
That's all brood and larvae. Wow. Where she can get it. So they may be running out of space. It'll be interesting to see what's up top.
Huh. That is something else, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Look at that.
Again,
those little eggs.
If you do run into any queen issues, just let me know, because I look at all those cat brood, larvae all the way to the outside edge, and then pollen. I'm trying to do a little grafting this year. I just wanted to try it out, so
okay.
I'm going to hold back some queens and some small nukes. If you have an issue, we can always try to requeen. I hope that you don't have an issue. In the first years, again, it's like a honeymoon thing, and everything just goes smooth. It's crazy how well everything goes this first year. So
I was going to get my nukes from
Billy Joe, right?
Billy Joe. Yeah.
Good deal. No, he is, out of all of the people, I would highly recommend him the most, because he's local.
Yeah.
And he also has the Russian stock. So
yes, that's what he was saying.
Local to me is very important.
Okay.
I know that sometimes he gets his queens and he breeds them, or he gets his queens from down there, but he breeds them here. So he's breeding with the queens that are local to us.
Oh,
so,
okay, gotcha.
To me, that is very important. But
yeah, I didn't make the last meeting, but I watched it on Zoom.
Yeah.
It actually came across pretty well.
Good, good. He's a really good storyteller too. He's a great guy, and he's just so.
I saw his wife a couple days later at a coffee shop. I'm standing there. She looks at me and she goes, "Hey," I was like, because we met. They were some of the first people we met when we first moved here.
Really?
Yeah, because they go to and visited.
Yeah.
And they were the first people we met.
That is awesome.
And he goes, "I'm the honey guy." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't know what that meant.
That's so cool. He is the honey guy here in town.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, he's good. I guess you know Craig too, so.
Yes.
Craig's a pretty big honey.
So Craig's my neighbor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Does he have bees, or is he mainly just a packer?
it looks like he has a few boxes out there.
Gotcha.
But for the most part, I think he's a packer.
Gotcha. So again, we got.
And you know he bought from Hodem, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got. What's up? Keep blowing off. I'll just set this on top of here. They were still some hassle. So again, brood.
Okay.
But they've completely brought so much pollen in, there's nowhere else for her to put stuff. So there's another option here, and this is something that I have not done, but I was going to try this year. It's pollen trapping, and it basically strips some of the pollen off of their legs so they don't keep bringing it in, and then you can sell the pollen to people, and they eat the pollen because it has a lot of proteins in it, and it's really it's supposed to be really good for you.
How do you eat the pollen? Like just by itself?
Some people just mix it in with
or tea, or
like
something?
oatmeal or whatever you want.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you so the pollen, how do you sell it? How do you extract it?
So you wouldn't get this pollen. See how that girl's carrying some right there on her hind legs? It's about an inch away from my finger. Hang on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's carrying some. So what you do is you put an entrance on there that has a narrow entrance, and as they squeeze through, some of it falls off, but not all of it, and it goes into a basket that they can't access. And then you pull that basket out, and that's yours. And then usually you freeze it, or you freeze it in case there's something in it, which usually is not, at least this time of year. And then I think I'm just going to put it in jars. Some people sell it in bags. I really like to keep things in glass as much as I can.
Yeah.
But and then one of my customers came to me and asked if I sold it, and I was like, I don't, but I'll give it a shot. So
interesting.
I'm gonna try
I bet it's
cut comb and
for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Especially for respiratory, huh?
Yeah, it's got. I mean, it's all protein too. It's very high in proteins. So.
Oh, okay.
But see how the bees come out? That's fine. They're gonna come out. You're like, hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's
and then
going on?
they're going back to work. So, not a big deal. And then if there's too many of them, you can smoke yourself, or you can smoke the bees a little bit. But once we get this second box on there, I think they're going to be a little calmer because they'll be able to come up in this upper space.
Okay, gotcha.
So
now when you finish it out, you just tighten them together.
I need to slide everything back so we can get the first frame in. So again, you see how we kept all the shoulders together?
Yes. Just so
I'm not.
smash.
Yeah. If there was a gap, I had an opportunity to smash between every frame.
Okay.
If you can slide it like that, you do that as much as you can, and then sometimes I just use my thumbs and just give it a good push. The propolis makes it hard to push, obviously, but it is moving. And then sometimes you can push this way as well, but you got to be careful you don't slip off. So, it's going a little bit. It's going, but it's going slow, and that's fine too, because sometimes if in new equipment, if there's a little bit of propolis, it'll slip and then boom, it'll go shooting to the other side. So be careful. These are sharp, so don't put your hand where you could have any issues with that if it slips off. And I'll teach you another trick here in a second. A lot of times I can just do it with my thumb. Man, that's put on there pretty good. So another thing too is these frames are tapered. And this is more so when they're together, the bees can come around the edge. Oh, look, there's a small hive beetle.
Oh, okay.
Smash them. Oh my gosh, those are the guys you don't want. There's one there, one there.
Amazing how they find it, huh?
Yeah. Well, they probably overwintered in this hive, so. And they'll fly back to it too. All right, there's enough of you. Now, if you get a bee in here, you can let them out, but man, that's a good amount of them in there.
That's a ton of them. They're all coming out.
Yeah, they don't like daylight, so.
Ah, okay, that's why. Trying to hide.
Yep. Again, I don't know if this is really worth it, but
it works.
Kind of rewarding.
Yeah, it works.
Don't know how much good that would actually do, but kind of fun.
Cool.
So, and see how they're really calm. They're going about their business.
Yeah, they're just busy.
Oh yeah. So
happy.
like I was saying, dang it, they're everywhere.
Man, they just keep on coming out.
Yeah. So they're almost always on the outside frames because there's less bees.
Okay, gotcha.
Protecting that area. So
that makes sense.
So this area is thinner so that the bees can come off their comb and around the next frame. Here they can't make it through.
Oh, okay,
and
gotcha.
That's like that too, so they can come over the top.
Oh, okay. So they're all cut like that.
Yeah. But what that does is if it's too narrow, you can fit this in against that one, and you can actually pry against the box with the frame. And you can actually use the leverage of the frame to push the other frames over. So I'm pushing a little bit, but it is sliding all the frames over.
Okay, yeah.
But you got to be careful as the bottom goes against the other box. You're not smashing bees at the bottom. So.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But that's it. That hive the bottom box is inspected. I'm just gonna make sure you take that off. Sometimes I put the box on and I still have the frame hanger on, then I got to take it all apart again.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Let's look underneath the bottom of this one first.
Okay.
So what I'm looking for is queen cells. These small hive beetles will hang out on the outside and then they'll run in at the last second. So
Okay.
if you do wear these, it's good to just check yourself every once in a while.
Yeah.
I seem to swell up a little bit when I get stung on the wrist, but not the fingers. Like the fingers, I don't get
Interesting.
swell at all. So, and this has still got quite a bit of weight to it, so I think they're probably going to be okay. So what I'm looking for here, potential queen cells, and I don't see any at all. So this is one of my sensors. I'll go ahead and pull this off and put it on this bottom box.
Huh.
That's my temperature humidity sensor there.
Okay.
But usually, if there's queen cells, they'll be facing down and they'll be open towards the bottom. So when people are doing inspections,
Oh, I see. Okay.
they can just raise the box and know if it's time to start doing something. So this hive is actually in good shape.
Okay.
I shouldn't have to take any action for the next week or two. Now there are drones, so in 2 weeks they'll be mature. So they may start making some stuff in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Look at all those bees. Let me get a picture of that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want them to be all healthy like that this time of year, but and that's only half of them. You know, the other half's in here. So
That's so cool.
so I'll smoke these down so that when we put that next layer on, it doesn't crush them.
Okay, and this is strong on.
Yep.
Back in.
Yep. And it's really the edges that I'm most concerned about, like where the box is set. So then I'll just rock that off. You can set it at an angle and then just slowly rotate it on. And that limits that. And it also kind of pushes some out instead of smashing them. If it's too heavy, I hate to say it, but do what's best for you. I mean, if you smash a few, they're always dying.
Right.
Don't think it's the end of the world, but don't strain your back and hurt yourself.
Okay.
You just put them on. I just try to go on, minimize the contact surface and twist, or if you can smoke them down good, then that takes care of them too.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
when you get equipment, I would not recommend getting plastic frames. Now these are drone frames.
Okay.
I use these so that we have a lot of boys out in the area,
Okay.
so that we have more gentle bees and queens that come back. So potentially if they mate with somebody else's queen, theirs comes out and their drones come out, then hopefully I'm saturating the area enough that with my genetics. But what happens is there's a little gap along the top edge, and I'll show you that when we get into this, that the small hive beetles can hide in, but the bees can't get to. I don't know why they design it like that.
Okay.
And it just, I despise it, but it is what it is. But the wood frames don't have that, so that's why I would recommend that.
Okay.
Just toss this over here.
And then all of yours have the glass top.
Yeah, at least for the winter.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's more so that I can look in there
You can
and
look
see what's
and
going on.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Because the hardest part, okay, if you make it through your first year, up to winter, all you do is worry about what is going on inside those boxes that first year. You just get so much anxiety. Should I feed them? Should I not feed them?
Okay.
You know, and a lot of people feed, which is, if you're a beginner, I just recommend feeding because one, you want them to draw the comb out, and two, it doesn't hurt unless they start backfilling so much that she can't lay.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
like when you get to feeding, then like maybe a quart or two a week is okay, you know. And then when they stop taking it, don't give them any more for a while because there may be a flow, and you want them to get natural sources. You don't want them to.
Gotcha.
use
So
yours.
how do you feed them?
You can get a top feeder, or some of the inner covers have a little oval in them. Some of my wooden ones, and you can put a feeder on top of that. There's Boardman entrance feeders, but I don't know that I'd recommend that. I typically like the top feeders. Again, the top feeders you can see in the top without opening the hive.
Okay, gotcha. What is it? Just like a cup?
Let's go through the top box and then I'll show you those.
Okay.
You remind me before we jump into.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if you wanted to hang around for the other ones, but totally up to you.
I have a couple hours.
You see how they all go down,
Yeah.
and then you have less to deal with. So, and again, pry along the edge. If you have small hive beetles, sometimes they're propolized up in these corners. Sometimes they're on this. Always look up here for your queen, especially if there's a lot of bees on it, because you don't want to separate her from the hive and have something happen to her.
Gotcha.
I almost smashed that beetle with the bee in my hand there.
I didn't even say that bee.
Yeah. So, oh, where did they go? I saw you in there.
So what is like this?
They call that burr comb. So that's comb. So if there's a flow on, and you'll see how there's white edges, they'll build comb wherever they can. So I mean, potentially, if she's out of space, I could put another box on this. And if she's not wanting to swarm, then they'll keep just building it out. It gets harder to inspect them when you get more stuff on there, but I want them to build out as much comb as I can, because if I'm selling nukes, I need the comb because I'm selling it to people. I don't have a lot of extra drawn comb unless something goes wrong, and then like something like a hive doesn't make it or something like that, then you get extra comb, but if you can preserve it. So again, the drone comb is a larger cell, and that she knows to not lay. She'll lay an unfertilized egg, and it will be a boy. All the females are fertilized. Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. So the drones have a grandpa, but not a dad. So they're really just part of her to reproduce her genes. So pretty crazy. Oh, got a good mix here. So this is overwintered honey.
Oh, wow.
And then it looks like, I don't know if they've eaten that or they're just uncapping it and see how they're drinking it. That's because when I smoke them, they gorge themselves with that extra honey.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then this is drone brood, and you'll see it. Some people say it looks like an eraser cap or like a 22.
Yeah.
It's always got a round top, and they're a little bit bigger. And see, this one's almost just about to be capped.
Oh, yeah.
So once they get to that certain age.
Holy smoke. Okay, so they're just feeding on all this.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't see eggs anywhere around this, so she must just have a little patch that she came up here. And see this gap here?
Yeah.
That's the gap that small hive beetles can get in, but the bees cannot defend. They can kind of get in here, but the frames are against each other, so that's not a problem. Sometimes they make those into cells, but in that bottom edge, same thing. So this hive actually had more small hive beetles than most of my other ones, just by going off of the
Amazing
count.
how they make this.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Amazing. Very cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of food there.
Same thing there. We got a drone brood right in the middle, so, and larvae that are just about to be hatched. See how they're pearly white? On the left side of the cap. That's what they should always look like.
Okay,
if they're a brown or a yellow, then they could have a disease, and that's a big issue. So always want to see pearly white.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So pearly white before it gets capped.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Usually they're like a yellowish or a brownish. It could be European foul brood, which is a nutritional issue.
Okay.
Could be American foul brood even.
Really?
So you see how this drips? That was nectar in here that fell out because it wasn't dried down enough. You can actually taste that if you wanted to. Tastes like honey. That doesn't taste like very good honey, but it tastes okay. In the summertime, it almost has like a fruity taste to it.
Okay.
I don't know what that would be. I guess maybe it's a maple. It's just not a strong honey flavor. Just want to show you.
So each year are you getting different colors of honey?
Yep, different
depending on what bloom.
Each year and depending on the time of year.
Okay.
So this goes on a frame and then latches on. I don't want to damage this comb too much, but let me do it on one of the other ones in. But if you're worried about getting your fingers over there and stuff, you can also use one of these. You have to have pretty good grip strength because you got to keep it clamped while you're doing it. But you can lift enough that you've broken these.
Okay.
And then you can just lift it out with that.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
I find it a little bit harder to maneuver, but I use it in places where it's really tight. Like those queen mating newts are really hard to get stuff in and out of. But see, I can't maneuver it besides looking like this.
Right.
And looking like this.
And then if you let go of it, it just
yes.
Right?
Yep, let go and then it falls off. So. You can use it if you want it, but you definitely don't have to. It's just another tool in the toolbox. So all that's capped honey. So, and it can be white if it's got an air pocket, or it can be dark. They call this wet cappings. That's called dry cappings. Okay. There's no difference except for there's a little air bubble in there. So.
Okay, so underneath it's the same.
Yep.
Except the air bubble. Okay.
And some bees do them some way, some do the other. That is all nectar, completely packed. A little bit of pollen in the middle. But wow, that is insane.
Look at that.
So, from what I've seen so far, I have not seen any open comb space. Okay. So that means she has nowhere to lay. So
at that point, what
does
she do?
You got to give her more room, or you got to take some of this stuff out and put it into different hives. Some people equalize.
Okay.
I haven't equalized in the past. I'm not against it. I just, if this hive is doing really well, I want this hive to continue to do really well. I don't want to set it back.
Yeah.
And then boost up one that I don't want to reproduce.
I got you.
So, but there is something to be said about equalizing, because it'll make sure that they all want to swarm and reproduce around the same time.
Okay.
So, oh wow,
that's a full one.
Yep, that is crazy.
Wow, look at all that.
Yeah, that's all overwintered honey. So typically,
and that's just to keep them alive and keep them warm.
Yep. So that's what they eat through the winter.
Okay.
So, to me, this is representative of about a week in the spring. Yep.
Okay.
So they lose more honey, more weight in February and March than they do the previous few months. It's crazy. Huh. Do you want to hold this one? I just want you to realize when you're lifting the frames, you can feel what's on those frames when you lift them. I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
What a difference.
Yeah. So that's all honey.
heavy.
It's very dense. It's very heavy. And then you get brood. It's lighter. You get pollen. It's lighter. And if you ever get this where it's smoking a lot, you can set it on its side and it'll slow itself down.
Oh, okay.
But, you want to set that one back in? And again, just as you put them in, try to slide the shoulders against the next one.
I should probably start.
We're going against this one here so that we can go through the next one. Yep.
Okay.
You don't have to start until you get about to the shoulder, so you can slowly go in and then you can work your way over.
Oh, up to here, yeah.
Yep. So once you get right about there, then you can work over to the shoulder. Yep, good on that side and good on that side. Yeah, you're fine. As long as there's no bees in it, it don't matter. If there's bees in there, you'll feel them. You'll definitely feel them. So try to keep this one over here too if you can. Yeah. So this is the thing that I don't like about the big gloves.
Yeah.
They get stuck. So I'm going to pinch this just for a second so you can regrip.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. See how? Yeah. Exactly. That's what you want to pinch on the outside, and then you can gently set it in. If you drop them in, that's when the bees get a little agitated. But sometimes when there's propolis on them, they just slowly set down in there. So you're good to go. Oops, I'm bothering them because I'm out in front.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You're up.
Okay.
Be gentle.
So I just remove that.
Do you want a little smoke, or are you okay?
I think it's okay.
I should come around to this side because the light.
Oh, wow. You're really getting close to me now.
Yeah, well, you're the one that's getting in there now. You want that hook to be on the outside of that shoulder, otherwise you'll poke it into the honey. So there you go. There you go. Perfect. And as you lift it, you'll notice, I'm not sure if you felt the bump on that side, the bottom of the frame will rack and hit the side of the box. You want to try to be as even as you can, because if there's a bee in there, you'll smush it.
Okay.
And if it's your queen bee, then you'll set them back a little bit.
So when I do that, right?
Yep, you can lift those both straight up. And then what you're going to do, once you get it out of the hive, you're going to set the bottom corner on this, and then you can regrip. So just keep coming straight up out of there.
So
Keep on coming out. Yep, and then tip up about 45 degrees. Yep, set on there. Get a good grip here. Then you can tuck that into your hand, and then use your fingers to do that. There you go. Perfect. And I hope the queen's on there, and I hope that you can find her. I'll look on this side. I see honey and pollen and nectar on this side. I don't see any signs of a queen over here. How about you?
I don't. I see a drone.
I do see some open cells. I wonder if they plugged those up though. You see any eggs or larvae in there? And you can rotate that so that the sun sort of lines up with the cells, so that you can see down into the cell all the way.
You want to get my nose, don't you?
Oh, you got one on you? Here. I'm just gonna give it a little smoke out here. Sometimes if you get a little smoke on your suit, that'll be enough to keep them away from you. But, so you want the sun at your back. So my shadow is about this direction. Yeah. So you want to be about that direction, and you want to have it enough that you're not in you're not. Yes. There you go.
Oh,
so you're not creating the shadow on it. Yeah. So then you can see to the bottom of the cells and see if there's eggs and stuff.
I think I see an egg.
Yep.
Is that an egg I'm seeing? Those little, like, oval things?
Yeah, I'm seeing them all the way over here. Looks like she's filled most of that. So again, remember at the bottom, when I showed you we were at the bottom of the arc?
Mm-hmm.
This is the top of the arc.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You mind if I hold that one for a second?
Yeah. Should I,
I got this side, and I got that side. Oh yeah, eggs all the way to the outside edge. And they're just starting to tip, so she's been up in the past couple of days.
Okay, and I think I'm
understanding
sometimes
what those eggs. Sometimes hard to see here because
so
the bottoms are
eggs
shiny.
like the little light-colored, like oval?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I'm seeing it correctly.
Let me see if I can. I get a picture of it and we can zoom in just to make sure we're. Am I holding that up for just a second? Just hold it right there. Can you see that? That's the egg.
Okay, that's what I'm looking at.
It's hard to see,
Okay.
but yeah. And then as they tip over, so day 1 they're on their end.
Okay.
Day 2 they're pretty much on their end. Day 3 they're starting to tip, and when they're completely over, they absorb the shell, and then they turn into a larvae.
Got it. Okay, so that's exactly what I was looking at.
Yeah. And you can see as
there's tons of eggs.
So these are older. Again, she laid in the middle and worked her way out.
Okay.
And then I'm seeing a little bit older larvae here. See the white?
Yeah, the white. Okay,
yep.
so that.
And then you're seeing eggs. So she's working around and around and around.
So you're seeing the eggs, and then
these are just older as you get towards the middle.
So the process is the eggs, the white to the cap.
Yep. So that's egg, larvae, and then capped brood. And then she
larvae,
pupates underneath there. That's why your comb ends up getting brown, because there's actually little pupal casings that are in there. And that's why they recommend rotating that out, because the pupal casing makes it smaller and smaller each time. But there's also could be wax and pesticide and stuff in there.
Got it.
Sometimes it's miticide from dealing with mites. That's why I try to recommend to use, you can do the next one there.
Okay.
That little thing on top should stick to it, so don't worry about, just ignore it. That's why I try to recommend using the organic ones, because they go away. But if you're nervous about it, it's okay to use like the Apivar.
Okay.
Apivar is very easy, and it's better to treat than to not treat. I prefer to try to tell people to treat if they need it, but if you're not in them that much, it's better to probably just treat. I'd rather your bees be alive than not. So.
Okay, gotcha.
Again, that's the Hive tool I use. I could probably show you how to use the other tool if you want to, but
okay. This actually looks pretty good.
Yeah. You want some smoke, or you good?
I think I'm okay right now.
Okay. And again, if they're buzzing around your face, you can always step back a little bit, and then they sort of just go back to the hive. So.
Okay, so loosen that.
Yeah, enough to pinch it, and then this side you can lift all the way up and out.
Okay, so this one I need to just grab it, right?
Yep. Well, I mean, you can do it either way. So if you can lift that one enough that you can pinch your fingers on it. Let me get you a little.
Oh, look at me.
Oh, you got one right there. Just gonna give you a little smoke. Didn't give you too much there. So far, if you smell like a lemon, oh my gosh. If you smell a lemon type smell, that's their alarm pheromone. I have not smelled that yet. So right now they're kind of just checking us out.
Okay.
If they were really pissed, they would grab onto our veil and just like lock on.
Really?
Yeah. And they would release that pheromone, which would call more to your face. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Look at that.
Could you spin like this direction? Towards me? No, I want to see you. I want to see you and the frame. There you go. Nice. Yeah, that is a good frame. So that's when you're looking at how your genetics are, you really want to see them very few misses. You want to see almost just a solid pattern. Some people call that a brick, and sometimes they'll lay edge to edge, corner to corner, depending on how much stuff's coming in and how healthy they are. So.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that's very good. So I think a lot of our genetics that we're going to base it off of this year are probably going to be from this hive.
Okay.
You gonna look at the other side, or you peeking at something? You gonna see that one real quick? Here. Just wanna take a peek in case we see the queen there. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be on here. If she's on here, she's gonna be around the edge, because that's the only place she has left to lay.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you looking for the red dot? Or what? How do you use the picture again?
She does have a red dot. Her abdomen is longer. It sticks out way beyond her. Once you see her, you'll see what I mean. They're very noticeable.
Okay.
She very well may have gone down to the other box, but
I got you.
You want to put this one in, or do you want me to? There you go. Let me choke down on this a little bit. Okay, and we can pinch the top so that when you can go down, you can rotate your fingers down and set it on down there. Let me give them a little. Yeah, let me give them a little smoke, because they're kind of in that little crevice there. So we don't smash any on the way down. I'm getting a little wood shavings out of there. There you go. Straight on down, and then you can slide over. There you go. Great. And as you come down here, just go slow. They'll move out of the way. If you move too fast, you could smush some, but not very likely. So that's the way that we typically do it. If you see the queen on there, you've got to be super careful, and sometimes it's better to set her down and then slide things over. You got it? You okay? You're gonna fly out, check you out. You want to do one big step back, they'll calm down. And you can shake them off of there if you want.
This stuff buzzing. I think he got caught.
No, she's just pissed. Step back just one more step.
I made him mad, didn't I?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Grab that from you. Here, let me just switch spaces for you so they come to me. And again, they'll eventually kind of figure out your smell. And I mean, yeah, is that one still? Is that still that one, huh?
Yeah, it's after.
If you ever have any issues and you've got a lot and you can't, like, you keep walking away, it's okay to smush one. Just clap. But, they are getting a little testy. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the rest of these real quick.
Okay, go for it.
And then we'll. So I usually I'll smoke myself a little bit, just enough to like throw them off the scent.
Okay.
And then still that one, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like something there.
Yeah. Sometimes if you do have a tree or like somewhere dark to walk into, like if it's too crazy and I get overwhelmed, you can always go into a shed or something like that, because they go towards the light. They don't like to be in the dark.
Got it.
I mean, they'll leave you alone at that point. So.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But I also have noticed they get a little defensive if I'm getting close to where the queen is.
Oh.
I feel that I've been noticing that. It may not be the truth, but getting close to something that's important to them.
Got it.
So I always lift one, then pinch it, and then I lift the other one, just kind of like you did. When you lift one side, go ahead and just pinch it with your fingers.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then you can see there's one under there, so you just gently set it down until you can feel the wood. Yeah.
Okay.
And see the ones on your fingers are the ones you got to worry about. But
yeah.
Lots of drones. Those cells are empty and polished. So when they
so when they're empty and polished.
Look in the dead center. It's a very small red dot. She's at the edge of my shadow. Kind of near the bottom. A little more. She's going towards the bottom a little bit. Stick your finger straight out.
Oh yeah, right there.
So see how long her abdomen is?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's huge.
Oh,
but
okay.
sometimes they're camouflaged. They're hard to see. But the red dot tells me that she was born last year, though. That's why we dot them.
Oh, okay.
And so they were defensive. So
that makes
notice
sense.
that I mean that may be something
really
with the
got
pheromones.
testy.
Yeah. But
So-
everything's polished, so that means they hatched out. They've cleaned the cell, and they want her to lay an egg in it.
Oh,
So
I
she's
see, okay.
she's got her ring. It's hatching out in the middle. Then, as it hatches out, she lays it again, and then they'll go through that ring again.
Interesting.
So all that center part was brood at one time, and that's all the bees. Well, a lot of those are the young bees that we're seeing in the hive right now.
Okay.
If you do find the queen, always try to inspect over top of the hive in case she falls off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And
she just stays in there the whole time, huh?
yep, once she gets mated, the only time that she would ever possibly come out is if they were going to swarm. So
Okay, gotcha.
there's a bee right here hatching or emerging. See how they're chewing their way out?
Yeah. Oh man, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's brand new, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the newest model right there.
That is so crazy, man.
Yeah. They're a pretty incredible little insects.
And then it just repeats itself over and over.
Yep. Until they run out of room, or there's too many bees, and then or until they're
So the
big enough.
egg.
Yep. So she'll lay the egg. That'll go to a larvae. Remember the center was capped.
Yep.
It was capped. So these are going to hatch out first, and these will hatch out probably a few days later, and then she starts over. Maybe eggs,
larvae, caps,
larvae, cap, brood, and then baby bees right there. So.
And the brood is just the babies, right?
Yeah, brood is what we call capped cells. So at this point, they're fed. At this point, they don't need to feed anymore. They are just going through their stages of pupation, and then they hatch out, and then they can help in the hive.
Got it. Okay. What was that?
All right, now we do know that she is on this side, right? Yep, she was. She was. Let's double check this side. They hide on you. I'm pretty sure she was on this face.
Yeah, I think she was on the space that had a little bit more room.
Okay. And I was going to show you is just got to be careful when you're putting them in. You don't want them to be on the edge. You kind of want them to be in the middle. And we'll set them down and
the queen.
Yeah, we'll set the whole frame down, but just make sure there's nobody walking on the ground with a red dot. I'm sure there she is. She is right there.
There you go.
So this is like when we put these in, I'll leave this over here, and then we'll work our way back.
Okay.
And then you can just like when you touch them and you bump them.
Just move out of the way.
Yeah, they just move out of the way. So remember, she's on this side. So when I put that next frame in, I got to be very, very careful.
Because she's on this side. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's on this face.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
I need a little smoke here. They're getting coming up now. I see you girls. I see you. Gonna break it apart. That one's really stuck. There it is. So she doesn't have a lot of places to lay. So
Yeah.
there's a few things. I mean, they're going to be using a lot of resources, so she should be eating through all that stuff, and then that should make more room. That's the other challenge that I find. It's hard to tell people when to feed, because if I fed them and she's out of room right now, they're going to take all of that nectar and they're going to fill every spot that she can lay, and then they're going to be more likely to swarm. So again, I'll just set that down. Regrip. Remember, if you touch them, they usually move out of the way. Cap brood. So see, in the middle was cap brood, and now they're putting nectar in it. They're out of space.
Okay.
They're out of space. I'd hate to try to expand them this time of year, but I think I may put another box on here and just let them draw a new comb.
Huh.
And I could potentially feed them if that would encourage them to draw more.
Okay.
I'm thinking they just need some more space.
Yeah.
There's eggs in the middle there. Of course, she was on the other side of this, so that's
Yeah.
why there was eggs.
Okay. Gotcha.
The other thing is, in a few days, it's going to be in the 30s, but after that, it'll be in the 60s and 70s. So
Okay.
right now, probably not a problem. But
Okay.
whenever that cold snap is over, it may be wise to give them a little more space.
Okay.
I was also going to do a little grafting. See, sometimes they get on there, they just don't know what it is, so they won't sting through it. I don't know. It feels crazy, them crawling on your fingers.
Really?
Though.
Yes.
But
That's like
just a weird tickling.
being close to the skin there.
Yeah. So see, there's a bee right there. Right there. You're in the wrong spot.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Look at him.
Get close, and then you open it up, and then they'll come right out back out. I'm just trying to be very gentle because, again, that's where the queen was. So I don't mind pushing them back together like that if there's a queen in there. You just got to go slow with it.
Okay.
And this should be droned. Again, I typically have one of these per hive.
Okay.
The other advantage of this is the mites prefer to live in the drone cells.
Okay.
As a hobby beekeeper, backyard beekeeper, if you're not making splits, these drones are not of much value to you.
Okay.
So you put this in here as it's almost completely capped with drone brood. You put it in the freezer, kills all the drones, but it also kills all the mites that are in there.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So
Okay.
look at all the capped brood there. So the mites prefer, like, see, these guys have hatched out. See how fuzzy they are?
Oh, yeah.
So all of these, she must have had a random pattern right here. Look at these guys are just now hatching.
Oh my gosh, look at them just coming out.
Yeah, they'll chew their way out, and then they'll go to the nectar, and then they'll feed themselves. And
That is so cool.
they don't do much.
That's crazy.
I thought I saw a wing that was disconnected. I'll show you the 4 wings. But anyways, yeah. They're good to have because you can reduce your mite loads without putting pesticides, or miticides, any sort of
Okay.
things that could set them back.
By putting one of these in.
Put one of these in, once it's mostly capped. Like right now, if I didn't want these drones to mate with the other bees, I would take this and put it in the freezer because there's probably enough on here that would, most of the mites are probably in these areas. So the mites can only reproduce when they're under these cappings. So most of the time you're killing them when they're on the bees, but usually about 80% of them are under the capping.
Oh, okay,
So-
gotcha.
It's kind of tricky to kill them. Formic acid is the only one, Formic Pro is the only one that can treat under the cappings.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
It's just so strong that it goes through the cappings. So, yeah, everything's good there. So, I'll show you a queen cup. And this is what we were looking for earlier. This is a queen cup.
Oh.
Okay. So what I need to see is there any eggs in there? Nope, there's not.
Okay.
So if you see an egg in there, you see a larvae in there, they're getting close to swarming. A lot of times they build these just as practice.
Okay.
If you knock them down like this, bust it open, you inspect again in a week, and they built more, and there's larvae and stuff in there, then they're wanting to swarm. So when I see them, I'll usually knock them.
Another, or
if they're yeah, that's when you try to do a split. If there's eggs or they're charged, which means there's royal jelly, and they're larger larvae in there before they get capped.
Okay.
That's when you can do a split, or sometimes, you know, the better option may actually be leaving a couple cells in this hive that are close to each other, because when one hatches out, she'll kill the other one.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
But you want to take the old queen out and put it in a different hive.
Okay.
So, because what happens is there's such a strong population in here, they'll be able to feed the queen cell and the larvae really well, so they'll be able to take care of her better. But if I took a few frames out and put them in that little queen castle, there may not be enough population to take care of her and keep her healthy enough to be a good laying queen that's going to last. So,
okay.
a lot of nuances, but probably nothing you're going to have to worry about the first year. Okay. But just know that it's out there.
Got it.
There's another way to do this, less pushing, but you can actually pull if you hook on these.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm watching this corner right here, making sure that I'm not smashing bees in that shoulder space.
And you leave the space on the outsides?
Yes. So 10 frame is actually a little tighter, but yeah, I leave, the 8 frame has a little bit extra space. Chicken pecking at my boot. And the chickens don't bother the bees, and the bees don't bother the chickens for the most part.
Wondering, because the mite are going to be down by the chickens.
Yeah, no, they should be fine. Now our chickens are not in a pen, so they can get away, but I don't know, I've never seen any issues with them. I mean, when they get close, if they hear the buzzing, they kind of sense that, and then they get away from it. Yeah. But let's see what we got here. Let me get this last one back in, and then it should be good. And again, if you're moving over the top quickly and they're coming up at you, they're irritated. So, I mean, at this point, we've had them open for quite a while, so I can see that they would be irritated, but